As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
BravBros. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of BravBros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Scooter McDuder. What's up, dude?
Well, Steele, thank you for asking. I am tired. I'm exhausted.
Me too.
We are in the midst of a playoff run, Eagles season, Bravo, guest appearances all over the fucking map.
Yes, sir.
Your boy is tired.
Well, that is Red October in a nutshell. A lot of people don't know that Red October has a green aspect to it as well. That's the birds every Sunday. So, look, being a full-time Philadelphia sports fan, a full-time Bravo night, a full-time Bravo night, having jobs on top of all of that.
A lot going on.
I mean, a lot of shit going on.
It's so funny because, like, at the start of every week, which is, Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever it might be, you try to map out your week.
Oh, yeah. Good luck.
It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, good luck.
Eagles Sunday afternoon, Monday night Phillies, Tuesday filming guest spot, which plug, we're going to be on the Pink Shade podcast Thursday.
With Mary Payne Gilbert. We had an absolute blast.
Yeah.
So if you don't follow her on Instagram, she's trying to get her numbies up. Go ahead and go and follow Pink Shade Podcast. She was fantastic. It was so much fun. Episode drops Thursday. Really excited for you guys to listen.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. And Steele and I will be at the game tonight. We are listening in the morning. Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So we will be at the Phillies game tonight. So please leave us the fuck alone and let us cheer.
Come on up. If you're watching on YouTube, I will be wearing these overalls. Shooters try not to. He don't want to give me credit. I know that you weren't going to say anything, but I'll say it. If you're listening and not watching, I'm wearing Phillies overalls right now. I look fantastic.
With no shirt on underneath, and he just told me he's going to wear this to the game tomorrow night, to which I said, please, I do not want to have a boner the entire game.
I guess I don't want to distract our hitters.
No, it would distract me, honestly. I got to be the one cheering out there. But yeah, so we've got that, and then Steele's going to Texas on Thursday. We're going to have to do a little bit of a remote podcast recording going on there for Friday's episode. And then Friday, you know what I'm doing?
Sleeping.
Fucking nothing.
Yeah, that sounds...
Just nothing. I'm going to go to work, go home, maybe do a little light shopping, and then I'm sleeping.
I think that sounds like a really nice day, a nice little Friday for yourself.
Could be a nice Friday. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do everything I want to do,
Oh, yeah, I don't know if there's enough time. Well, I'll be down in Texas with Pop. I'm super excited. We're going to have an awesome weekend. I get to go, she's been doing cheerleading camp, and she loves it. And on Fridays, the whole camp, they go to an actual football game, and she's actually going to be a cheerleader at the game. So I get to actually see her cheer at a football game on Friday, and I'm so excited to see that. I think it's going to be so cute.
Are 6-year-old football games, like
7.
I guess it's pounders?
Well, they have like Pee-wee. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's a Pee-wee football game or if it's just a football game because it's a small Texas town.
Yeah.
So I would imagine they might just have a program.
The whole town comes out and watches the football game,
like,
I
you're
imagine.
going to go cheer at the high school game. Like, here comes the whatever cheerleaders for, like, the first quarter. It's only the first quarter, then she's done.
Good. Short attention spans. That helps.
Well, so I'm point being, I'm really excited to go watch.
Yeah, no, that's going to be an absolute blast. That sounds like a nice little Friday for
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm excited.
Look at this. We're already looking forward. We got a busy week, and we're already looking forward to our enjoyable Fridays.
Yes. Well, look, it's the best time to be a Philly sports fan, without a doubt. But I don't think that people understand the adrenaline come down. Like, last night was soul crushing.
Yep.
And we were so stoked during the game. Then the last inning, don't want to talk about it. Let's just say we're soul crushed. And like the highs and lows of this time of year, it's exhausting. And on top of that, I'm too emotionally connected to Bravo TV shows. So I'm a wreck. And
a hot little potato.
I'm a hot little potato right now. And you know what?
Overalls.
I love it. I fucking love Red October.
And that's the thing is I always look back to, and you get to the point where, it's like March. The Super Bowl's over. Football season's over. You're still months away. And, the beginning of baseball season's exciting, but then you get into the dog days and it's like, all right, this is the only sport on. You look back and you say, I wish I could have done more in October.
Yeah,
That's what pushes me through because there are days where I just want to sit home and not, go to the bar, not do this and that and whatever. And then I realize I'm going to be regretting it.
You will.
In a couple of months, I'm going to look back and say that was a really fun night. and I don't care that I was tired and or hungover the next day at work.
Yeah, at least I don't have to deal
Sorry,
with
work.
the hangovers.
Sorry, work, if you're
Sorry.
listening to this.
Yeah, sorry, work.
Sorry, job.
But let's get started. You already gave the plug for Pink Shade. Again, that's on Thursday. I'm going to do another plug.
Plug it up.
November 19th at the Bourbon Room in LA. It's a Friendsgiving with Zach Peter. There's going to be, like I like the word, I'm going to keep using it, a plethora of content creators. We have Bravo personalities coming out as well. It's going to be a really great time. It's not the same format as the shows that you've been to with us in the past, if you've been to our shows. But if you're out in LA, you haven't been to our show, so you don't know what to expect. Point is,
Unless you're a really great fan and you came to the East Coast and either New York or Philly.
that would be really cool. But regardless, go get your tickets at nofilterlive.com. Come hang out with us and Zach and a lot of other guests. It's going to be a great time. We're super excited to take the bros out to the West Coast. I'm throwing up the West Coast W right now on the YouTube. But yeah, go get your tickets for that. And that's the only plugs I have.
That's it. That's
Moving
a front plug.
That's a. Ooh, I don't like that implication at all. But let's start out with first and foremost. Do you have any current events for us today?
No, I
Okay,
do
I'm
not.
fine with that. I'm fine
No,
with
I
that.
do not. There's too many other things going on. I have no current events. However, I did want to take a little spin on the rankings for Tuesday's show,
Okay.
Wednesday show, whatever. Instead of doing, because I feel like, they changed it sometimes. Let's rank the RHONY housewives,
Oh, okay.
because there's been a huge mix-up going on,
Yes.
huge shake-up over the last couple of weeks. I was thinking about it. It is funny to look back in the beginning of the season at who we had at the top versus the bottom and who we have now.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
I would like you to go
All
first.
right.
Yeah. My idea, you go.
My idea, you go.
My idea, you go.
That's the new segment. My idea, you go. All right. Look, I stand by her. Jenna, number 1. Number 2, Jessel.
Okay.
Number 3, Uba and Bryn. They could both be 3.
Okay.
So I'll do Uba 3, Bryn 3.5 for now, and that could shift. 4, Erin, 5, Sai.
Yeah, I think that works.
Is that you too?
No, that's not where I am. I've got Bryn number 1.
Okay.
Just because she has gotten through some of the harder scenes. She always comes out smiling and having a good time, which
Okay.
is what you want in a show. And she's starting to bring a little bit more substance, which I appreciate. I've got Jenna at 2 because she seems to be the only fucking person on this show that thinks logically, which
I
is
know, I
just
love that.
insane to say that there's, 5 people here, one person thinks logically. That's insane. 3, I have Jessel.
Mhm.
4, I've got Uba. Uba is not back from Phonegate. She
she's
is
still
not
down
fully
there?
back. She is still
Okay.
down from Phonegate. And then I've got Erin at 5. There have been times that I liked Erin, but just enough to put her above Sai. And Sai, I've got her packing her bags and not coming back next season.
I think that
I am done with
a
Sai.
lot of people are voicing that same opinion.
Yeah,
it's been interesting to watch since it's a first season of a show to watch the roller coaster that was Sai, because she came on the scene a little hot, but people liked it. But then she never took her foot off the gas.
You know how much you have to do to not get a second season back? And
A lot.
you're actively a participant in most of these things,
She's in all of
which
them.
is what you want from a housewife. You want them involved in things, but
Not that way.
she is not doing it the right way, and she's rubbing people the wrong way. And I'm happy to see that most people feel this way.
Yeah, there's
and
a
they're
lot.
not sitting there saying, well, she's entertaining. No, it's not entertaining. She's bullying people. And anytime that you question anything that she does, she flips out. It's like,
I know.
no, nobody needs to see that on TV. So I've got her not even at number 6. I've just got her not coming back.
Interesting. I don't disagree with it. I think I'm going to keep her at 6. I'm going to hold out hope because, look, across the board, right, if you look at all of the housewives, I think that we've seen some take some pretty big 180s and turn it around. So I'm not saying it's out of the cards because it's her first season. She's a rookie. All right. Rookie numbers are not indicative
I
of
just
your
don't
whole
see
career.
her looking back this season, watching these episodes, and thinking, "Wow, I came on a little strong there.
Oh
Maybe
no,
I can do this." She
That's
has no
really
self-awareness.
interesting. I 100% agree. Whereas we watch some of these seasons and we're like, oh, when she watches this back, she's going to hate how she looks. We even see some housewives speak out and say, yeah, I didn't love that.
Yeah.
Could have done better here. even if she thinks that she could have done better, I genuinely think that Sai's gonna be like, no, I stand by everything I did, everything I said, how mean I was to people. I 100% stand by it. That's a really good point. But that takes us right into RHONY. And how'd you feel about this episode? Because the last couple have been a little clunky.
I'm going to put my feelings of the subject matter aside and say that at least it was better.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, as much as I didn't enjoy what they were talking about the entire fucking episode, you still got everybody involved. Everybody mixed it up and shared their opinions. We got Jessel taking a step forward. We got, the level-headed side of the room with Bryn and Jenna towards the end, and then we also got the non-level-headed side of the room at Swingers.
Yeah.
The aptly named mini golf bar.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
Mini golf bar sounds sick though. Not
Mini
gonna lie.
golf bar. There's one downtown called.
I'm in.
Fuck, what's it called?
You want to take me on a date? I'm in.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Hey now.
But let's jump right in. We start out with, it's kind of a juxtaposed scene. We have Sai and Erin FaceTime with each other, and at the same time, you have Jenna and Jessel talking. And it's all about the same topic, and it's the lunch recap between Jessel and Sai. And the talk on the phone, this FaceTime conversation, is the meanest shit I've ever heard. Sai comments on the fact that Jessel, who shared with Sai about the night at the Ritz-Carlton, her and Pavit finally had sex again. I can't imagine, and we saw how awkward they were just with the lingerie.
Yep.
That had to be such an awkward moment for them to try to work past that. It's been a year and a half, all right? There's a gigantic elephant in the room. It's like, okay, we haven't been able to work past this. We know tonight's the night. There has to be so much pressure on both parties. She says it took me a long time to warm up. It took like 25 minutes. Sai shits on her for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a shitty thing to do. Like, to sit there and giggle with your friend on the phone. Like, can you believe that? Like, oh my God, like, you couldn't even get warmed up. They took 25 minutes. Like, that's such a mean thing to say. They finally did it. You guys have been hounding them non-stop about this shit. They finally do it, and now you have a problem with how they did it?
Yeah, it was just fucking deplorable behavior, and I hate watching that. And it pisses me off that Sai, somebody who's got the backstory of someone that you would think would have some perspective, has no perspective on how this might work and how other people might feel. She immediately just puts herself in there and goes, well, David and I wouldn't be able to have sex. Like, we have to have sex every single day. Like, I can't keep him off of me. Okay, that's you and David.
Thank you.
There are different things, and it's just wild that she goes through this whole thing, and Erin's just pushing her along and laughing because her kids walk into the room. She's like, I don't want to talk about this in front of my kids. Why are you talking about the intricacies of someone else's sexual relationship on the phone? Not only on the phone, in front of cameras that are now going to show this episode to not only Jessel and Pavit, to other people in the group and fucking millions around the world that are watching this show. It's such bully behavior. It's such bullshit. And I hated it from the moment that Sai starts off and goes, well, first off, she was 35, 40 minutes late. Sai, you were 20 minutes late. You failed to mention that part.
Yep, didn't say that part.
The lunch started at 11. You walked in at 11:20. She happened to be 25 minutes later than that. That's on you.
She played the same card that Sai did. She just played it better.
Yeah. And it's just fucking hilarious to see that. She is pissed off that, one, she wasn't the one who showed up late because I don't really care and I didn't want to do this anyway. Sucks. You sat there for 25 minutes and had to think about it.
Yeah.
Stewed over it. That's fucking funny.
Yep.
Because you wanted to do something and she did it better than you did. You got what you deserved. And to see you sit here and talk to Erin about this is fuck you, dude. You are terrible. And I said it at the beginning of the show. I just want Sai off the show. And I feel bad because it's the first season. You want to give people time to grow. We've given Sai enough time to grow, and she's grown in the worst way.
Season,
yeah.
And there's been no shift at all, and that is not a good formula. If you look across the board, right? Look at Jenna. Her big issue was not being open, not talking about stuff, right? She was very walled off, closed off. We've seen her come out of her shell a little bit, and Bryn was a help to that. She kind of guided her along and got her to be more expressive and more talkative with the group. Great. Uba, who we thought was just sweet all the time, we saw a different side of her, and maybe it wasn't the best side of her, but still, there's more dynamic there. We also saw her come back from that and be cool Uba again. We've seen journeys, right? And the journey doesn't have to necessarily be them becoming this great person, but we have to see a shift. At some point, you have to acknowledge how you've been acting. Sai refuses to do so after 12 episodes. It's been 12 weeks. If you can't look at some of your behavior and be like, oof, just a little oof, then yeah, I'm with you. Go away. But the next thing they talk about is Vietnam, and this becomes the focal point of the episode is this Vietnam trip. It's crazy to me that two people that know nothing about Jessel and Pavit's actual relationship, the only thing they know is that they struggled to have sex for a year and a half after having twins, right? That's all you really know about this marriage. You don't know anything else. And you're going to sit there and speculate that him going to Vietnam on a mileage run is him going to Vietnam to cheat on his wife. And you guys are actively talking about it, laughing about it, and relentless about it. And I'm so glad that the scene that was juxtaposed to this was Jenna and Jessel talking about it, because Jenna brings such a calm demeanor and calming presence to this, and an understanding presence in which she's like, look, clearly there was an emotional wall between the two of you. Like you and Pavit, there was something that you had to work through. It's okay that it took a year and a half because you guys got there. You guys figured it out. Good for you. At the same time, you know what? To bring up the uncle was a little insensitive. It's not the same as the mom, but I can see what, like she said what we said last week. We said Jessel's just trying to relate. She's trying to find a connection. She's not trying to be mean. She just struggles.
Yeah,
in these
she's
moments.
clumsy with it, and
That's
like
all.
that's it. It's fine. Like if you can do it in a way that actually shows, and this is it doesn't even go to say what Sai might even take it as, because we watch it and we've only seen what, how many episodes? 11 episodes, 12 episodes
12.
at this point. So we're watching now for the 12th week,
Or
trying
maybe.
to
It might be
figure out
whatever.
trying to figure out who Jessel is, and we've come to the conclusion that she's a little clumsy. And yeah, maybe she shouldn't be trying to relate to somebody because it's just too much to ask for. And Sai is right in the sense that we just want to know who Jessel is. Just
Right.
talk about yourself. We get it. Stop trying to relate. Stop trying to match energy. Stop trying to do all this bullshit. I think that we're
Say it like that.
yeah.
Say it how you just said it. That calm. And hey, just be you.
Yeah.
That's different than
Instead of screaming
we just
on a
want
boat,
you to be you.
and then don't backtrack and say that you weren't being that serious about it. Like that would, I agree with Jessel. That reaction on the boat warrants a sit down for lunch. Clearly, you feel pretty strong about this.
Right.
If you're going to be screaming, there are sea turtles over there that are swimming around. All right, you're gonna bother them a little
They
bit.
swam away.
And I think that, look, I think we're a little bit to blame because we talked about this early in the season. They get over things pretty quickly, and there's a resolution, and they're not going to stumble over some dumb bullshit like flying to Vietnam. And here we are.
Yeah.
And we are just stuck on it.
You know
and
what?
I think it's our fault
We
because we
jinxed
put
it.
that out there. I was really enjoying it, and now we're eating our words.
We jinxed it, but I will say I wrote this down because it was a great quote. People want from people that won't give. Jenna Lyons. And I think that's a great quote. And I think that paints the perfect picture of what Jessel is trying to accomplish with Sai and who Sai is as well. Jessel just wants acceptance, and Sai is incapable of giving that to her.
Yeah. That doesn't work the other way around, though, because Sai, I don't think Sai wants any. I don't know what Sai wants
It
out of
doesn't work
Jessel.
the other way around.
Like, you can get all of this information out of Jessel, and Sai's still going to be upset.
She just says,
She's
I
still
don't
gonna,
care.
Like, pick on her. It's
I
just,
hate
you can't say you don't care
dismissive.
and scream your head off
Yeah,
on a
dude.
boat. You can't say you don't care and then poke holes in somebody's marriage. It's just like stupid.
I just hate when people use that. I think that's so dismissive when somebody's trying to be genuine with you and trying to be nice to you and trying to work through whatever has happened to be just, I don't care.
Yeah.
I do not care. Like, don't do that. Like, she made a mistake, right? She overstepped trying to relate. It's not the end of the fucking world. You can work past this, but to just dismiss her and say, I don't care, it's so goddamn rude. But I loved the scene with Uba at the lunch meeting where they're doing the collab with Beatnik. By the way, the food
I was just going to give you some space to just talk about the
looks
food.
fuego.
Fuego.
That
Oh, that's
food,
the first official fuego on
it
the
just
podcast.
looks like that place. I would eat at that place.
Yeah,
Like, the
I
sandwiches
liked
look
that
great.
too, and the way that the guys were all talking about the food and just like
Yeah.
really getting into it and pairing it off with her different sauces. So fucking, I'm hungry as shit right now. I am starving.
See, I'm going to give
and
you
I-
space, and you just went into it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
hungry boy over here.
We need to get some Uba hot.
We do need to
We
get.
really
some
need to
Uba
get
hot.
some. I would love to do like a recipe video with Uba hot. I think that'd be so much fun.
That'd be fuego.
That would be fuego. Looks pretty fuego. Just saying. But moving on from there, this is an interesting scene because we get Sai with her aunt and they're making dinner or whatever. And David made a book of all of Sai's mom's paintings, and the paintings are beautiful. like absolutely gorgeous paintings, and we get to see a side of Sai because I was literally wondering because the aunt breaks down, starts crying, and I was like, I wonder if Sai's gonna cry, and she does. She actually has some tears a little bit, and it was just interesting. Like I wish that she had more scenes like this, like where she's emotional, where she's actually feeling things and being able to express those feelings, even if it's ever so slightly, because she really still doesn't get into it.
Yeah.
But just showing emotion that you're not made out of rock.
Do you know what's funny? I think that we're starting to see, she really only cares about her family.
Yeah.
We see that emotional, like the emotions come out when she's with her aunt. The emotions come out when she's with her kids or when she's talking about her husband in a weird emotional way that way, whatever the fuck that was last week. But in the beginning of the season, we thought Sai just kind of like grouped up with Bryn and she wanted to go out and do the fun things and do something with the cool person in the group. And now she's grouping up with Erin, who she had an issue with in the first couple episodes. But there's no real like friendship there. There's no emotional relationship between the two friends. I think Sai's just using everybody in the group.
Well, can we take a sidebar real quick and
A
talk about
sidebar?
a sidebar? Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck, I missed that. Nice.
You said side to side.
I know. I said sidebar, and I still didn't get it.
Let's just keep doing it.
Sidebar. Let's take a sidebar and
Okay.
talk about the rumors surrounding Sai right now. Okay. So apparently, her husband David was the owner of the bar that she worked at in New York, and apparently was married at the time, right? They had something go on there. She got pregnant and now they're married. There's also a rumor of an older child involved in this somehow, that like an older son, and I haven't corroborated any of this, but that is now all over the place. Okay? So if any of this turns out to be true, the fact that she can comment on anybody else's relationship across the board, she would 100% have to pack her bags because she has no ground to stand on.
I
whatsoever.
actually disagree. I want her back for second season. I want to see her. I want to see her feet to the fire.
Okay, I can see
Because
that.
if that
part
starts
too.
breaking out and there is some story there, then yeah, I mean, you're going to tell your whole story about your family and how rough it was for you growing up, and leave that out.
That's a pretty
can
major
talk about it, like,
part to talk about.
We get into this a little bit later about what do you love the most about your relationship or your husband or your wife or whatever.
Honesty.
Honesty.
Honesty. That's what that man says.
I mean, I think if we're taking everything for face value and not the rumors, Sai has been brutally honest.
To a
And,
fault.
Yeah, very much to a fault. Much to the chagrin of us watching at home.
Nice word.
Thank you. But yeah, if those things pop off a little bit and we get to see a little bit more in there and there's some turmoil, bring her back.
All
I
right.
want to see it.
Okay, I'm on board. We get a quick little cut with Jenna shopping with Beckett, and highlighting this only because I'm always curious to see scenes with Jenna and like how she discusses her past and says, I really like Beckett. And that's a sweet thing to hear. She's like, I really like Beckett because my mom did not like me, and it was
Yeah.
very apparent. And that's so tough. And it could go so many different ways as a parent, like growing up like that. And for her to recognize it and instead do the exact opposite, right?
Yeah, she looks at it like a do-over.
Right, and she
which
even
I
said
thought was
that.
so nice.
And it's such a cool way, instead of like harboring anger, and like we've heard her talk about how she's processed her mom, and her mom struggled with mental illness, so it was a really difficult childhood. She said the house was always quiet, her mother didn't show any affection to her. So that could have really fucked up not only Jenna, but how she parents and also how she talks about her mother. But she doesn't talk about her mom with any disdain, really.
No.
She kind of understands that, yeah, it was just a unique scenario and it was a tough upbringing. But because of that, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure Beckett knows not only do I love you, but I really, really like you. I really like hanging out with you. And it's really sweet. But now we get to Swingers, and it couldn't be a better name. And I mentioned this on Pink Shade, and I'm just going to say it right now because the name's out there. It's interesting to me that they take Sai and David to Swingers, and they being Erin and Jessel, and they being Erin and Abe, because the more I'm seeing, okay, and bear with me here, the first conversation they have is about how Abe just got some, right? And they dive in a little bit more, and he's like, I just gave him a blowjob. Ha, ha, ha. And they're like, oh, well, did you get something? And Abe's like, oh, she got something. And the whole group laughs. So I am pretty convinced, like 99.9% convinced, that Abe and Erin are screening Sai and David to swing with them.
Yeah, I imagine if that is the case, it's all Abe's doing.
He's
Because
definitely
he's
the
the one who
driving
brought
force.
it up last week. He's the one who first said I'd be fucking somebody else. David, at least to that reaction, said the relationship would be over, which is better than what Abe said.
Is it though?
It's kind
Kind
a
of,
little bit.
Yeah,
It's
no, you're
bad.
right. It's better, but it's not. The fact that Sai after that can go, that's the right answer. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
It's not. It's a better answer, but it's not.
But it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, there's a better version of everything out there. Like there
Sure.
is a worst. Abe's response was the worst.
That was the worst.
And his is a half a step up. So that being said,
Now, the worst would be Angie from Salt Lake response and saying, I'd put a hit out on my wife if we didn't have sex for a year and a half.
That would probably
You
be the
pulled an
worst.
Angie and said, T-shirt or hit on family. Anyway, continue.
different ends of the spectrum there, Ange. But no, I think I can definitely see it. I mean, they tried to run this, which I fucking hate. New York is not some like fucking metropolis new
Sex
like
party.
futuristic sex party.
No.
Where they're better than everybody and they're so much more in touch with like their sexual emotions than everyone else. And this is just how we do it in New York. It's like, no, that's not how people work.
How many people do you know in New York? We have mutual friends.
I have a lot of
multiple
friends in New York and nobody acts like that.
Not one of them swing, to my knowledge.
Well,
Hold on.
and look, I'm not even knocking swingers. I'm
No,
just
Dirk and
saying,
Corey,
like,
maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
Shout out.
They're not listening.
Shout out to my dads.
People don't understand that reference, but no, I just hate that trope. It's like, yo, this is New York. Anything goes up here. It's like, no, it's just another fucking city with cockroaches. But no, okay, whatever. Bed bugs now.
Oh,
Thanks
yeah.
a lot, Paris. That should have been my current events.
Oh, yeah, the Paris
Fucking
bed
fashion
bugs.
show, bringing back the bed bugs. But no, it's just so weird to watch, and I fully agree. I think they could easily be screening. Who do you think's into it though? You know, I think all four would be party to it.
I think all four would be party
think
to it. I
Erin
think
is-
David and Abe would be the driving forces. I think Sai would
think
do it
Sai
to
and
prove
Abe
that
would
she.
be.
See, I think Sai would do it to prove that she's so cool. I think Erin would go along because she doesn't want to upset Abe, and I think David's a scumbag.
Yeah.
That's
Which
my-
is so funny because they're the ones who are pointing things out and asking questions to Pavit about his trip to Vietnam.
Like, why do you give a fuck?
Just leave the guy alone. Like, stop making these weird, like, sexual passes talking about how he's going to be there for 24 hours and, you know, what stays in Vietnam or what happens in Vietnam stays in
And then you
Vietnam.
put him in the spot, and he's like, "Haha, yeah." Like, he's just awkward. He doesn't know what to say, and then it goes to his confession. He's like, "I don't know what's happening." Like, what the fuck?
Such weird dudes. For guys that started off the season as like, oh, yeah, these guys seem
We
cool.
like
It
them.
seems like they're level-headed. They might have maybe some logic in their brains. It's like, no, they're just scumbags.
No, they're just total dirtbags. But Sai and Erin like put it on their husbands. Like, you got to get the dirt from Pavit. Like, they don't really know Pavit that well. Like, I wouldn't try to get the dirt from people I know well. I wouldn't start talking about that shit
Yeah.
to try to like dig up that dirt. But they're putting these two on the case and like Dumb and Dumber to go talk to Pavit, who doesn't hang out with them, to try to talk about his sex life and talk about what he's actually doing in Vietnam. Like, they're the fucking CIA. And it's so dumb. But Jessel finally gets there. And I did like this line. Sai just doesn't like me because I dress better. Like, boom. I love that. But everyone's sitting around the table, and this is when Vietnam comes up in front of the group, which is crazy. Like, you guys are this obsessed with being, and like you pointed out multiple times, this is now just bullying.
Yep.
This is straight up bullying, which is never fun to watch in real life or on TV. I don't want to see people get put in uncomfortable situations. I don't want to see people get put in uncomfortable situations for the pleasure of other people. I think it's horrible.
Yeah, and it's just not an interesting topic. Once he
not.
says, oh yeah, I'm doing it because I was able to get like extra miles out of it, and usually something that's, you know, $5,000 round trip.
No, 15 grand.
15 grand round trip is now $665 for me to go.
900.
Well, I've got my numbers all wrong. But it doesn't fucking matter. I'm in the ballpark. He's now going to do this. Like, it makes sense. The first time that we saw that comment when we talked about it a few weeks ago, you and I looked at each other and were like, I don't really understand that, but it makes sense, I guess, if you're just thinking about it that way.
Whatever.
Sure, whatever. Apparently, he does it a couple times a year.
That's what it is.
Who the fuck cares?
Exactly. Whatever.
It doesn't fucking matter. It is not interesting enough for Sai to stop the entire conversation and say, tell me about like what's going on with Vietnam. We don't need to know anymore.
No.
The only reason that you want to bring it up is so that you can try to poke holes in it and prove to Jessel that it's fucking weird. And while I agree that it is a little weird, but I just don't understand it, I don't think that there's any more going on there. The dude just seems pretty simple.
He does.
It seems pretty easy to read.
Genuinely
very
seems
simple.
like he wants a fucking banh mi sandwich.
He wants a real banh mi sandwich. He's not going to settle for the cart on fucking 4th Avenue. So he's going to go to Vietnam and have himself a banh mi sandwich. And oh, by the way, he's going to get 180,000 miles over 3 trips that he can then take his wife and kids on a really fun vacation for free.
Right.
It seems very cut and dry. It's not very interesting. Why are we talking about this? Except for you guys to just try to make fun of him or poke holes in it or insinuate that he's cheating on Jessel in front of Jessel. It's a weird fucking move. And it's got to be either bullying behavior or it's just idiotic. And I don't care for either.
It just, to me, it's like, oh, our marriages are so great. Let's shit on a marriage that we don't understand because they must be worse than us. And meanwhile, the scenes with Pavit and Jessel seem the most genuine. I'm like, these two like each other. These two love each other. These two get it. Like,
and you know what happened over the last couple of episodes? She doesn't like rip them apart anymore.
No,
she doesn't do any of that. She razzes them a bit, but you know what? We remember they were friends first. They were best friends. They had kids, got married. I'm not sure the order of those things, but they got married and had kids, and now they're together and they're best friends still. So they're going to razz each other up a little bit, and we kind of got over that, but obviously it's not as apparent as it was the last couple episodes. If anybody has issues within your marriage, how about the way that your husbands responded last week?
That's it, right?
Like, look yourself in the mirror. Clearly, there's something wrong going on there. What happens if you have another kid and you don't want to have sex for a year? Now you got to worry that your husband's going to go out and fuck somebody else.
Or divorce you.
He might be flying to Vietnam.
He might be flying to Vietnam.
You better have that same energy.
Exactly.
If he's flying to Vietnam to get those miles, you better have that same energy and say, what are you doing?
Only he's spending 2 days there, and he hasn't mentioned a banh mi sandwich once. But the boys go golf, and I fucking hated this. Like, the two cool guys, Abe and David, because they have all the sex, and Abe just got a blowjob. Like, nice, dude. Point to the blue ball and go, Pavit gets the blue ball. No. And Pavit goes, no, I'm good now. Like,
that's a joke that like Shep and Austen would make to Craig.
Yes.
If Craig was like, yeah, I haven't seen Paige in a while. I'm like, I'm really missing her and I want to have sex. And they're like, well, you haven't had sex in a couple weeks. Here's the blue ball for Craig. And you know what? That would have been funny because I'm not even questioning Craig and Paige's relationship when it comes to that.
Nope.
They're going to he'll go up to New York and they'll be fine anyway.
Yes.
It's a touchy subject. Why is everybody making fun of it?
You guys do not know him.
You guys do not know him. And not only that, the wives in this relationship, met each other probably less than a year ago.
Yeah.
Do they need to be talking about something that's very personal? Nah.
Stop talking about Pavit's balls.
It's uncomfortable for us to watch. It's uncomfortable for Pavit. I feel bad.
I feel bad for Pavit, too. Meanwhile, back at the table, Jessel and Erin are talking about the lunch a little bit, and then Sai jumps in, and that's when she starts getting rude as fuck. And she's like, it could have been a phone call. It's like, Jessel was trying to do you the courtesy of, like, squashing this shit in person, face to face. That's the respectful thing to do. And she keeps saying, like, well, we left Anguilla, so it was no longer an issue. It's like, you yelled at her on the boat to the point that you were clapping your hands at her. Like, clearly it's still a problem, and clearly it rubbed you the wrong way. So for Jessel to go out of her way and be like, hey, can we sit down and have a lunch together, shows that she's trying, and you do not care. You just don't care. And then she lays into Jessel. And she's like, we just want you to be real, and just talk. And literally, as I'm writing, you don't let her talk. Jessel says, you don't let me finish ever. And that's true. Every time they start to get into these conversations, Jessel attempts to defend herself or explain herself. And Sai goes off the rails, yells at her, says really mean things, and then says, you know what? I don't care. How the fuck are you supposed to respond to that? How do you come back in any way, shape, or form to somebody that has checked out entirely after tearing you apart?
No, at some point, and I think we're starting to see it, Jessel just needs to remove herself from the situation. Why even talk to Sai at all?
Oh, I totally agree with that, but I was not expecting this. Jessel's like, well, I try to talk, but then your pet parrot over here, I was like, ooh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Go after both of
Yeah,
them. I
bring
love
Erin
that.
into this because
Absolutely.
you know what? Erin does that. She'll just team up. She's so fucking shell shocked because every time that Erin opened her mouth in the beginning of the season, she got ripped apart. Now she teams up with the person who is making fun of her the most because she's afraid of getting ripped apart. Hey, if I play really close to Sai, Sai's not going to turn on me. I'll just team up with her.
That's it.
Uba's the only one who's sitting there actually laughing genuinely. Erin is painfully laughing. Like, how did I get brought into this? It's like, you brought yourself into this. You're the one who sat on the phone and was making fun of Jessel. Jessel doesn't even know that happened, but she knows enough to know what kind of person you are, Erin. You're going to sit there and just echo everything that Sai says. Sai, at least when she speaks, she's speaking from her heart.
Yeah.
That's truly who Sai is. You're just echoing what she says because you're a fucking sheep.
And no, she's a parrot. And her reactions are...
I wanted to do a bah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well,
I did it anyway.
I know. My bad. I should have read
It's
the
okay.
room. But I was genuinely uncomfortable with Erin's reactions. Like when she's like rolling on the couch, like fake laughing, I'm like, you are playing this up so much. Nothing that Sai is saying is hitting. She's not landing any actual punches. She's saying the same shit that she has said over and over again. Everyone's tired of hearing it, except Erin, like you said, she's so excited to be on Sai's team now that she's just like playing it up the most. And Uba is like an innocent bystander, just like kind of laughing / just like eating.
Yep.
And like, I don't really know what's going on. Like, can we just move on from all this shit? But I'm glad Jessel stood up But I'm glad Jessel stood up for herself finally. I'm glad that she took a jab and then says, you know what, I'm done. And hopefully she is. And Sai does the worst thing you could possibly do. And she goes and like crashes the boys' time. And she's like, oh, I'm going to come over and play. And all the guys are like, oh, this is ruined. It's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. Like, don't come over here because you're upset with the girls and like come over to the guys who are also picking on Pavit so that you can come over there and start questioning Vietnam again. Because then David brings it up. He goes, well, if I went to Vietnam, what would you say? And she's like, who you fucking? It's like, why, dude? Leave this couple alone. The weirdest part to me, and this is like when I have been out on David, but this was like the nail in the coffin. When they all get back over to the table, we already saw his interactions with Uba, and I was like, that's kind of weird. He keeps calling her hot and stuff, like bizarre. Gives her a big hug, says, God, you're so beautiful, and you're so smart, and blah, 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 and then starts commenting on her relationship status. None of your fucking business, one. Two, why are you complimenting her so much and her looks in front of your wife? And why is Sai, who is questioning, here it is. Here's the breakdown. Sai is questioning why Pavit is flying to Vietnam for miles for 24 hours and flying back. She has no issue with the man who said, I'm going to divorce you if we don't have sex for a year and a half, and now is calling my friend, who is objectively gorgeous, so attractive, so pretty, all of these nice things. And like, yeah, great, he's complimenting her, but it's creepy and it's weird in front of your wife. Why are you not concerned about that? Why are you not concerned about your husband, your marriage, which is built on infidelity, apparently, and you have an issue with sweet Pavit going to eat a fucking sandwich?
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, we keep repeating it, but it's just crazy to me that that's your problem. Instead of looking inward, Erin, look inward at your creepy husband that goes to a confession and goes, I just need it all the time. I feel so bad because I need it all the time.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, bro, like, settle the fuck down,
So weird.
dude.
It went from like us being very uncomfortable because they're talking about Jessel and Pavit's sex life or lack thereof for the longest time. We're like, all right, enough. Like, this is really weird. You guys are commenting on things that you do not need to comment on. I do not want to watch this anymore. Now we went to the other side of the spectrum, and they are talking so openly about their sex lives to the point where it's like, enough. Like, we get it. There's a line that you've crossed, and that line is, you guys have a healthy sex life. Great for you. That's
Good.
nice. It's fun. If you can make jokes about it here and there, fine. That's cool. A sex joke here and there is funny. Do not cross that line and have your husband go to the confessional and do exactly what you just said.
I just need it.
Just fucking need it. I need it like water.
I
Need it like the air that I breathe. It better be inside of Erin. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
It's just enough. Like, it's creepy. It's weird. And then if you're going to comment on somebody else's sex life, don't push that shit elsewhere. Leave it alone.
Quit shoving it down our throats.
Oh, yeah. Please.
Hey-o.
Hey, now.
But the last scene is at Jenna's house, and they're just doing a recap of the night. Bryn is there. Jessel's there. They have a much better conversation about the Vietnam trip, because another thing is the timeline is now messed up, and that's reason for Sai to say that Jessel lies about everything because the flight's at a different time. Like, are you
Which,
kidding
when
me?
you go back, she says, yeah, he's got a flight to Vietnam in like a couple of weeks.
It's vague as shit, right?
No, it was next week. It was next week.
No.
Okay? That's a
couple
lie. It was next week.
It's a vague one-off where Jessel's like, yeah, he's going to Vietnam in a couple weeks. Like, whatever, I get a
So
staycation.
stupid.
It's so simple, and it's not a lie.
It's not a fucking, like, unearthing of her being a huge liar.
No.
Like, you did not just do some detective work. You got your facts wrong from a throwaway comment 3 weeks ago in a shoe store, and you're going to stand on that as your soapbox for saying that that's why she's lying? Like,
How
what do you-
dumb.
bring up other things. I'm sure if we were to roll back the tape, I'm sure Jessel has lied about other things, and we can look at those
They
things.
all do.
But that's the thing that you're going to hone in on is you said that this trip was next week. Apparently, it's not for a couple weeks. It's not even planned. Well, it opens up in a couple of weeks, and that's when I'm going to book it. So that's when it's going to happen.
Period.
I didn't hear that because Erin was cackling over here.
your parrot was chirping in the corner.
It's so weird.
And they get to and we missed this, but I'm glad I'm bringing it back up. The why do you love your wife, right?
Ugh.
And these two guys, like David spins this ridiculous story. I didn't believe a word he was saying. That's when he was talking about the honesty thing. And I fully expected both of them just to be like, because the sex is great.
Yeah.
And Abe has to mention, like, she loves sex. Like, you don't have to say that part. Just, like, say what's nice about it. The funniest shit is Pavit literally echoes pretty much exactly what Abe said. I want to be with somebody that loves life, that wants to keep it interesting, travel, do all these great things together, that puts up with my shit.
Yep.
Pavit literally says the
It
same.
lets me do the weird things that I'm going to go do, like go get a banh mi sandwich in Vietnam and go on a mileage run.
But
And
he also says that she
also
does this
puts up
stuff-
with my shit.
But he says does those things with me.
Yep.
Lives life and wants to do things with me and puts up with my shit.
It's just-
Identical.
it's-
And then Sai says to everybody after the fact, and Erin echoes the same thing, Parrot, and says, Pavit said that he just wanted to go be with Jessel because she lets him do whatever he wants. No, he absolutely didn't say that at all. Meanwhile, the only cool wife, by the way, is Jessel, because she's like, I don't give a shit what he does. Like, yeah, I trust him implicitly. If he wants to go to a strip club with his boys, sometimes I go with him. If he wants to go get a fucking banh mi, we're best friends. I trust him. That's what marriage is. You trust your partner implicitly. You're not questioning that they're doing shady shit. The only reason you have a reason to question your significant other is if you think they are capable of doing shady shit. And that comes about if you get together with them through infidelity, if they talk about sex incessantly, if they tell you they're going to leave you in a year and a half if you don't fuck them, and if they tell you they're going to divorce you if you don't fuck them for a year and a half. That's when you get shady. That's when you question your fucking marriage. Not when the wife is like, go do you, boo-boo, because I fucking trust you. That came out of nowhere.
Calm down. you need to settle down over there, overalls.
I don't know where that came
I
from.
don't know what just happened.
I didn't
But
expect
you got
that.
very
I
angry.
usually know when rants are coming.
Anybody got like one of those little balls that you can just squeeze?
stress
Get the
ball?
guy a stress ball.
A blue ball?
Yeah. Oh God. Here, bring it back around. I actually just remembered too. Abe had a moment where they were talking about. I think it was during the FaceTime call. They were talking about Pavit's mileage run, and Abe goes, "That doesn't sound so bad. He's going on a mileage run, and he gets to get away from the kids for a little bit and just have peace and quiet and sit in the first class. That doesn't sound too bad at all." And then Erin gave him a look, and he stopped and just walked away.
Yeah.
It's like he agreed. Your glowing husband who can't stop having sex. Which, by the way, if he can't stop having sex, there's chances are that he's probably having sex elsewhere.
Oh, I didn't say it.
I'm just saying it. Just throw it out there. He agreed with Pavit, and you gave him a look, so he stopped agreeing with Pavit. That doesn't sound so healthy to me.
No, and you know what? Usually I'd have an issue with like what you just said, but if they're going to point fingers like, oh, Pavit's probably stepping out,
Yeah, why not?
fuck that. You know what?
They're all stepping out.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Ooh.
Pineapple's upside down, baby.
Yeah, the pineapples, I don't know. Yeah.
That's what swingers do.
Oh,
Ever see a
really?
pineapple? Yeah.
I have, yeah, I've seen a pineapple.
Not a real pineapple, but like a pineapple doormat. Swingers live there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that?
You didn't know that? That's like common knowledge.
I don't
Sound
know.
off, chat.
Sound off, chat.
Chat, if any,
Sound off in the DMs.
Sound off in the DMs. Comment on YouTube, BravBros podcast.
At BravBros
Let us know about the upside down pineapples. Let us
Yeah.
know about swingers.
But apparently Shooter does.
You haven't been to my apartment.
I haven't. Do you
I'm
have
not swinging with that.
you have
You gotta have a
pineapple
partner
mat?
to be swinging, you know?
Okay, all right, cool.
Single guy showing up to a swingers party. That's sad.
I have so many questions. No, we're not going to do this.
Special episode of BravBros talking about swingers.
Welcome to the swingers episode. The last thing you know what? But moving right along to Southern Charm. What a charming show this has been. I've enjoyed this season.
And it's good, too. It works out really well because there was only one thing discussed this entire episode.
Yeah.
We could just kind of like roll through this one.
Yeah, we're just going to roll straight through it. And like the main focus of this episode, as we were expecting, is Taylor dropped a bomb on Olivia and said, there's been obviously speculation of what is the relationship between Austen and Taylor. And I still don't agree with how Taylor went about it. I get that she was trying to be honest, but she did not need to add in, he talked to his sister, I talked to my brother, to try to figure out whether or not we should take this to the next level and date, right? And the biggest issue for me, once again, and we talked about it last week, is the timeline. Because of when they had this conversation, that is congruent with when Austen and Olivia were trying to work things out, apparently. And then all of a sudden, after a week, he's like, nah, I can't do this. Now, those could have been two separate things. He could have been leading both of them on.
I don't really know, though, because I was thinking back to the reunion last year, and during the reunion, Austen was not with Olivia, and Olivia did not have kind words for Austen.
No, but after that...
Remember that. I know,
but after that, they said they tried for a week after the reunion to figure it out.
They were still in New York when they tried, though. That's where the timelines are all over the place. Whenever anybody in any show across the franchises says references New York in any way, it's the reunion. It's always the reunion. So when they're talking about it, Olivia says when we were in New York, he was texting me, and like after I left New York, I went to LA or whatever, or Vegas maybe, and he was texting me, talking me through all of this. She fucking hated him during the reunion. She was ripping him apart, calling him a boy, saying that he never knows what he's doing. He's fucking around, blah, blah, blah. Like all these things were going on. And obviously the Shep and Taylor kind of overshadows all of that.
Yeah.
But you're telling me that Olivia and Austen, who dated for 3 months, Taylor actually hit the nail on the head. Did they date? I don't really know. I really do not know if they actually dated.
Brought that up too, and like, here's my thing. That might be a valid argument. Probably the worst thing that Taylor could say in a confessional.
Oh yeah.
Like really not your place to say.
Now you're downplaying it, but it is a confessional, so we don't know what happens in the next couple of weeks. Maybe
great.
Obviously, her and Olivia do not talk anymore because you don't see anything on social media. But that being said, you're telling me that Taylor and Austen hung back in New York, had this whole conversation. Olivia left New York and went to Vegas, and then that's when Austen and Olivia are talking about maybe trying and figuring it out. After that whole fucking reunion, it just, none of it adds up. Really, none of the timeline adds up for me.
We need a flow chart.
Look, I don't even think we need a flow chart. I think that the Austen Olivia thing is being blown way out of proportion.
But here's the thing. I think that one, because of Charleston, right? It's a smaller town. They hit us over the head with that. Two, because they're castmates, I think the emotional part of it is elevated significantly. It's not so, I think a little fling, even if it's 3 months, when you are in a cast with these people, carries a lot more weight because it throws off the dynamic of the entire group, and it's awkward for people that have to see each other. And Olivia had a lot more feelings for Austen than Austen did for Olivia. That was apparent. And I think that because of that, and because Olivia and Taylor were then quote-unquote sisters after all this happened, I think that's where the betrayal comes in. It's not so much the duration of the relationship. It's the fact that for 3 months 3 months post, they were palling around together every single day, and at no point did Taylor say anything. I think that's where it becomes a fucked up thing.
Yeah, and I think that if we find out that, and we don't really know because of the cliffhanger, but if we find out that they didn't actually hook up, which I kind of speculate that right now, I think that cliffhanger at the end tells me everything that I need to know. I don't think they hooked up.
I still think they did.
I deep down, I think they do, but I don't think that they actually hooked up, and I think that makes it a lot funnier. I think I'm really looking forward to that because we've been led to believe this entire time. I think really what we're seeing in this episode specifically is Olivia is not grieving the Austen of it all. I think she's just grieving Taylor because she found a really good friend in Taylor. She just moved back to Charleston. Now she's all alone in Charleston. Her parents left, and she really found a sister. Look, we talk about the brother-sister thing. I don't know how I feel about sister-sister things. But no, I'm not. I'm just kidding. Just goofing. Come on, throwing a little joke out there.
Goof.
It doesn't have to be serious all the time. But no, I think that really she's just grieving the friendship that she found with Taylor, and that's going to be the crux of everything. I'm throwing out the whole Austen of it all, really. It's
Yeah.
just about friends
agree.
losing what they had.
I agree. And then, but on the opposite side of it, the Shep thing, that's fucked up.
Well, yeah. That
creates
falls
a
into the friendship
whole
thing.
different dynamic, and we'll get to that in a minute because I want to do a quick JT check-in because he's your favorite. But we get a scene with JT and Rod at the event space. It's just weird to me, you know, and I will stand by it. I think JT is great for the show. But it's so weird to me that he takes it upon himself at every avenue to bring up Austen and this whole Austen and Taylor thing. And he says to Rod, like, can you believe that? I just don't get what his infatuation is. And like, buddy, she hooked up with your friend on your trip. You're not getting in there, pal. Like, get over it.
JT's the kind of guy that falls in love in like one conversation.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. He had one conversation with Taylor, maybe bought her a coffee. She walked away. He was in love with her. She hooked up with his friend in Paris or London or wherever the fuck they were going to his parents' houses, not his houses.
No
Let's
shot.
make that an important point. And he's still in love with her, and now he takes every opportunity to talk about that. Or he was tasked with the storyline of, you're going to push this whole Austen Taylor thing, and this
Maybe.
is how we're going to do it. And he is very simple-minded and can't get past that.
I'm glad that Rod at least brought up the fact that Austen tried to throw it in his face that Olivia made out with somebody else at the bar. And Rod, who's an adult, seemingly was like, yeah, she's single. Like, it was such a weird move. It was like slut-shaming her, essentially. And what a child. Like, how the fuck are you going to bring that up? Like, it's going to, oh, thanks, bro. Good
It's funny when an
looks.
adult guy comes into this group. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa, what the hell are you doing here?
Exactly. Like, hey, you're too much logic, buddy. Like, settle down.
They go for their adult advice. They go over to Whitney. And
Yeah.
Whitney is not an adult.
No, he's the biggest man-child of them all. But Shep calls Austen, and they're having my only issue, and it's not even a bad issue, it's just like every scene is so painstakingly awkward. It's so goddamn awkward. Shep calls Austen, and to Shep's credit, once again, he's trying so hard to give Austen the benefit of the doubt. And Austin's like, well, I'm not going to the event. And of course, Shep's like, well, why? Like, that's weird. It's weird that you're not going.
Yeah.
Why aren't
Shep
you
already
going?
knew in that conversation.
I know, but still, like, he tells Shep about the conversation and emphasizes that nothing happened. And Shep, I still think, is like holding on to hope that nothing happened. But at the same time, dude, for the Austen and Shep side of it, and I understand that Shep stepped out on Taylor, and like that's a whole different dynamic of this thing, but just straight up bro code. If we're going to talk bro code here.
Bro code. Yeah.
Shep should be livid at Austen, period. Like, there's no wiggle room here. The fact that he's still trying to bridge this gap is not necessary. Like, he overstepped. He overstepped with your ex, period. The sleepover, not okay. Everything that happened after you guys broke up with Austen.
Wait, how about Austen going into his phone and zooming in on
the picture?
Taylor's picture?
It was weird.
On the camera?
I know. Like, what are you
What are you
trying? Are you
doing?
trying to bury yourself, you idiot? Like, what the fuck?
I was trying to wrap my head around that. I'm like, what is he doing? Like, he knows there's a camera behind him over his shoulder looking at his text messages, and you're zooming in on her face?
I don't know,
what?
man. It all leads to this like day chaser event, and it's still the worst name for a mixed can
Very
cocktail.
confused. Feel like
Very
it's going to hydrate
confused.
me. It's
Yeah,
not.
It's not going to hydrate you. It is not liquid IV. But during this scene, we get multiple conversations all centered around the same thing, right? What I want to highlight is Olivia and Shep's phone call. And I'm starting to think, and like this is a crazy speculation. I don't think there's any merit to it.
Foil hat?
Tinfoil hat.
Okay.
Big time conspiracy tinfoil hat
Yeah.
theory right here. She's like, do you want to like Uber together since we live so close? She's like, oh, it's a great idea. Is there going to be a grief hookup in their future where they're both, look, it's not going to be an extended
Happened
thing.
with Austen and Taylor.
You know what I mean? Here, like, let's say everything comes to light. Let's say they did hook up, Austen and Taylor, they did hook up. Shep and Olivia live close. Shep comes over. They start crushing whiskey or something. They're getting like bourbon drunk. And they wake
Break out that pheasant.
You know what I mean? And they wake up in Taylor's, or sorry, and they wake up in Olivia's parents' bed. And they're like, oh, fuck, what
Why
happened?
are they in her parents' bed?
Because it's their parents' house. And
She's
it's a
sleeping in the parents'
it's a
bed?
bourbon night, you know what I'm saying? This is how crazy the night gets. I'm
Okay.
trying to paint a picture for
That's a
you.
pretty good painting.
All right, thank you. So, wait, the painting of them having sex?
Sure.
Okay. Is that the craziest tinfoil conspiracy, or is there some merit there?
I think there's some merit there. However, I am now picturing you as like Bob Ross painting a picture of Shep and Olivia. We got a little happy little butt cheek over here. We're going to put a very sad cloud up here because Austin's very upset.
Whoops, and I made a mistake, but that's just a freckle now because there are no mistakes. A little freckle on Shep's
That's
butt.
that's kind of where my brain went.
That's a happy freckle.
This is your brain on Red October.
Hey, go Birds, go Phils.
I think there's some merit there. And we talked about it last week or the week before because we didn't realize, I kind of glossed over the fact that Shep lives so close, but him coming over from hunting with the pheasant, it seemed very like happy and whatever. I think what we're getting, I know.
What the fuck was that?
There's something in my throat, whatever. I think what we're getting is it's just more of Olivia is alone, living alone. Her parents are gone. She doesn't know a whole lot of people. We're kind of giving her a little bit more credit for being on the show. She's dating. She's doing this and that and whatever. For what Shep actually is, obviously he cheats on his girlfriends and whatever. He's a pretty good friend.
He's a good friend. I've
He's
said
a pretty
that.
good
Look, I
friend.
said that last
Whether
year
it's
when
with
I hated him.
Whether it's a girl or a guy.
No,
He
is.
does treat everybody pretty well. He's an asshole. He makes asshole comments. He buries himself all the time.
Yeah.
But as far as other people that he's friends with, he doesn't really bury them.
No, and
So
he's
he's-
respectful to Taylor at her event. He's like, I don't want to do this here. I'm sorry. And like leaves. I gotta say also, Olivia carries herself so well.
Oh, yeah.
She is going through it and she still puts on a face and says, I'm here to support you. Taylor, I'm
Yep.
here to support you. Like the
And
way
then
she handles this.
Then you get that juxtaposed to Austen, whose punk bitch move is I can't show up.
Yeah, you pussy.
I can't face that. Like, you're such a little baby.
You're a giant baby. A big old
giant
man baby.
man baby. But his response is, I'm gonna go over to Whitney's and just get some advice from Whitney.
Hold on. I do have to say, like the Whitney scene,
It's funny now.
it's funny.
Now that you understand what Whitney and Patricia are,
I
it's
do.
funny.
But here's the other part of it, okay? And we've all been there. You did something stupid, all right? And it could be in a relationship. It could just be in life. You're kind of at a weird place, and you call your boy, and you're like, yo, dude, are you busy? And like, nah, come on over. And you guys just get ridiculously drunk together and have like deep, what you think are meaningful conversations, but it's just nonsense back and forth. You drink till like 4 a.m. and pass out. That brought back memories.
In your parents'
for me.
bed.
In your parents' bed. It genuinely brought back memories where I was like, oh, I've had those nights where it's just like,
that is what that was.
it was
like
100%.
and then it crosses a bit when he's reaching out to Craig and inviting Craig over and bring Madison. Of course,
that
bring
was
Madison.
so weird.
Why not bring Madison? Let's just
Why?
get everybody in there.
What the fuck was that? Why is Madison cool? But then Vanita's like, oh, is it an open invitation? She's like, no,
No, no.
only Madison.
Oh, whoa, Vanita.
Yeah,
No.
Vanita.
You
only
need to show a little bit more on this show before you can get
That
invited
was
over.
so weird. Like, why? You and Madison aren't cool.
But then Madison was very like accepting of the invite. She's like, yeah, absolutely. Like,
But
I'm
then
going
she
over there.
goes there and shits on him. which
That's
is
what she
great.
wanted to do.
I know.
Yeah.
And then the last thing about the party that I want to touch on before we get to the drunken aftermath at Whitney's. Apparently, après ski is the new theme this year.
I know.
I've landed on that. We're doing après ski. It was Roaring 20s last year.
I'm okay right now.
I'm okay with it. It's going to get old. But
We get to
so
Beverly Hills, they're going to go to Aspen because they're going to go to Kyle's house and there's
Après
going to be après-ski.
So we went from Roaring 20s, sound baths. Now we're at après ski.
Yep.
I'm just curious if that's going to ring true for the rest of these shows. But at the après ski party, JT has some professional courtesy.
Do you know what that means? Do you want me to explain that a little bit further? Dude, it's one, it's not a thing. Two, it's very self-explanatory.
Yeah, we got it. Quit
We understand.
mansplaining.
You should have just said bro code, dumbass.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You made up a word that is very self-explanatory and then asked if you needed to explain that.
You were
No,
mansplaining?
people looked at you with a blank stare because you're a fucking moron.
Yeah, but he's still talking about the sleepover. Like, dude, you're not dating
Well,
her.
he was talking about it to people that hadn't heard it. Well, I mean, they've definitely heard it by now, but they hadn't heard it from anybody close.
Why is he bringing it up?
I'm telling you, he was tasked with being the person to spill the beans on this.
Yeah, maybe
And
so.
he is taking his character way too seriously.
Maybe so. I got to give a shout out to our boy Joey Bottles. Joe Bradley was on there. We saw Brad.
Bradley was there. Brad was there.
Brad
Yeah, the
was
whole crew.
there. Yeah, we got to see our friends from Southern Hospitality. What's up, guys? If you're listening. But we get to the bro down over at Whitney's house, and Craig and Shep. have a little conversation before going over there. And I like Craig. Again, Craig on this show is much better. He says to Shep, he's like, look, man, come with me. Like, go over there right now and confront him. Like, have this conversation right now. Shep's like, can you give me 10 minutes? And he's like, if you come with me, yeah, which is funny that he emphasized that because, like, it could have been like after 10 minutes, Shep's like, I'm just going to stay.
Yeah.
But Shep does have a little conversation with Taylor, and this one's hard for me, genuinely, because, look, what she did is wrong with Austen. I agree. However, what Shep did was wrong with Taylor. I did like that Shep pointed out, you got on me for 2 months afterwards. I was in Texas having sex with somebody else. Meanwhile, less than 2 months, you're having a conversation with Austen, one of my closest friends, about potentially dating.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Taylor's credit, she says, you're right. But the hardest part of all of this, because Taylor is wrong, this is wrong. Shep did cheat on her incessantly. That's wrong. So it's this weird middle ground where, like, they're both wrong, but Taylor is the most recent wrong one.
Yeah, it is sort of like that, but I feel like there is a line being crossed when you bring in somebody like Austen, and that's who you're talking to so quickly.
Yeah.
Years
Oh,
down
yeah,
the
I
line,
agree.
it kind of muddies it a bit, and it says, okay, you don't get to have an opinion on who I'm going to date.
Years, yes.
Yeah, years. You
Years.
don't get an opinion on who I'm going to date because when we were together, you cheated on me incessantly, and we're both adults, so this is what's going to happen. When it's less than 2 months after you guys break up, you were together for 4.5 years.
2.5, I think.
I think it was closer to 4. I don't know, whatever.
It was too long to be dating his friend.
Yes, exactly. And to do that, like, yeah, to bring it up, but I feel like what Shep should have probably done in that situation is, look, you're going to do what you're going to do. The issue is not really with Taylor. It's with Austen.
I agree with
You
that.
do not, you have lost this relationship with Taylor right then and there, like, well before that. That's over. You still want to be buddy-buddy with her. Again, the fucking Charleston thing, or it's just Shep wanting to build bridges and do this and that and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not, the issue does not lie entirely on Taylor. It's like 15% on her, maybe.
I think
The other 85 is fully on Austen.
I agree.
And what you should have done in that situation is said, look, I obviously don't approve of this. It hurt to hear that. That really fucking sucks. I'm angry about that. I'm pissed about that. I'm angry at you. But we don't really have anything here.
No.
This is over. Whatever we have in between us is completely over. I am going to be pissed at this other person, Austen, who's supposedly one of my closest friends. I'm going to go after him. I'm going over there to have a conversation with him right now to try to straighten this out.
Yeah.
That's what you say.
To lay it out, here's where the issues actually lie. As you just said, the issue is between Shep and Austen. The other part of it is Taylor and Olivia.
Yep.
Right? There should not be crossing going on because I don't, like you said, Taylor and Shep, it's over.
I think that they both get a chance to kind of voice their feelings.
Sure.
on it.
No, sure. But, like, this should be the end of those two trying to get to the bottom of it.
I would agree with that. And it might be. Honestly, it might be.
No.
This conversation, for what it was, could have been way worse.
Oh, infinitely worse.
It could have been so much
It was
worse.
funny that he was
I actually-
drinking a Stella, and she's
Yeah, he
like,
was
she got mad at that. It's like, all right, like, pick your battles.
Nobody wants to fucking drink those day chasers all day. Like, get over it. But no, it could have been way worse. I think that Shep handled himself pretty well. Taylor took accountability. She handled herself pretty well.
fine.
It didn't boil over. He's going to have to go have a really tough conversation with Austen, his best friend, who betrayed him.
Yep.
That's a bigger issue. This is not the bigger issue here. So there it goes.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I do need to comment when they're going over to Whitney's. I just loved this term when they get in the Uber or whatever. He's like, that was a heady ass encounter. I was like, what the fuck is a heady ass encounter?
An encounter that keeps you in your head, I guess.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but it was really funny. And they get over there, and the only thing worth noting is the cliffhanger. And it's, you took it one way, right? It's, Shep sits down with Austen and finally just says, tell me what happened. Was there something there? Like, a lot more is coming out. You're always so vague. Just fucking tell me. Right? What do you say? Vino and Veritas or something?
Yep.
And Austen, this can be taken two ways, and it clearly was, because he says, define hookup. When I hear that, I'm like, oh, something happened. When you hear that, you think it's a cliffhanger to shift the focus.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm curious which
We'll
one.
see what happens next week, this week, whatever.
Red October.
Yeah.
But that takes us to the questions, and let's start out with some RHONY ones. Up first from Jazz and I. Not a question, just go birds and love the pod. Great start. Sorry, it's
Great
October.
start.
I had to do that. From AwSnap21. Do you think if Jessel wasn't so liked, people would still feel the same way about Sai?
No, because I don't think that Jessel is well liked.
Jessel is definitely well liked now, and yes,
Now,
I think
but I
people
feel like-
still would feel the same way about
Yeah,
Sai.
I
He's an
think-
asshole regardless.
Yeah, I think they would, but I argue with the fact that Jessel's well liked. I feel like Jessel is recently well liked. I don't think that she's been well liked the whole season.
Not for
If
the
she was,
duration.
if this was Jenna Lyons in Jessel's shoes, everybody would be going after Sai.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think you misread the question or misheard it.
No.
Do you think people would feel differently about Sai? Oh, feel the same way about Sai? Yes, they would. You said no, they wouldn't. Would people still feel the same way about Sai if people didn't like Jessel now?
Yes, they
Yeah,
still would. Yes.
Yeah, that's yes. You said
Confusing
no.
wording.
It wasn't.
I got
really.
focused on the wrong aspect.
Yeah,
of that
I know.
question. Give me a break.
You're an idiot. Red October.
Long day.
Red October. Ooh, hell yeah. Great question from Led Roxella, if I said that right. Can we get a guest appearance by Steele's wife? We would love a Dev appearance.
Yeah, we've offered a couple times.
She's a tough cookie to crack.
Mm-hmm.
Dev, if you're listening, and I know you are, I told you the people want it. Come on the show, damn it. I'm going to start putting you on blast now. From C Mark 87, a lot of Bravo drama is fueled by alcohol. Being in recovery, does that bother you? No, it does not. I appreciate the question, but no, I can separate the two. I enjoy the shows. Sometimes it's alarming, and I notice things that maybe other people don't. But I talk about them on here, and I feel like that's a good space for me. So no, but thank you for asking. Up next. From Tracy A. Gallagher, do you guys think the whole story will ever come out about Austen and Taylor?
No. No chance.
I don't think so either.
I don't think we get the whole story of any fucking thing that comes out on any of these shows.
No, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
And for this one, I think it's going to be vague for the entire season. I think we're going to get hit with a cliffhanger, and I think they're going to pick up the cameras after the fact.
They better not.
I really hope they don't. Oh, here you go. From McCarthy CB. Shoots Magoots, I love you.
Thanks, McCarthy CB.
All right, let's do one more. Oh, interesting. From Daria PNG. How is Whitney hooking up with Naomi different from Austen and Taylor's situation?
Whitney is not a core friend. I don't
Yeah,
think.
he's an
Like,
outlier.
He's an outlier, and people don't hold him accountable for anything.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. There was one more I wanted to end on. Oh, what is this? A video one? We get video ones? That's so good. Jazz and A.
There you
wait,
go.
Make sure I say it right. Somebody sent a video to tell me how to pronounce their name, Jazz and A. Thank you so much.
There you
More
go.
people need to do that, so I don't butcher your names because I always feel like an asshole. But that'll do it for us here at the BravBros. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Bravo_Bros. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at BravBros Podcast. Buy your tickets for the Bourbon Room in LA, November 19th. You got anything else?
Go Phils.
Go Phils, Red October. Woo, woo.